Oh, New York in the world of football. Put the Bills to the side. We're not talking about them here. It's been a little bit of a rough go for the Jets and the Giants.
Drama to talk about close to Manhattan.
Both teams. The Jets 5-12 last season. The Giants even worse at 3-14. But, you know, new season approaching. One can try and find some hope for these organizations. When looking at this year's draft, right now the Tennessee Titans have that #1 overall pick. But the club is open to trading that pick. Reports are saying that both the Giants and the Jets are among the teams believed to be interested in trading up for that top pick. So as it stands right now, Giants holding on to that #3 overall pick. The Jets currently slated at pick #7. It's been a rough go for these teams at the top, but again, new hope when it comes to the draft. Our lead NFL insider, Jonathan, joining us now here on HQ. So reports are saying both the Giants and the Jets interested in trading up for that #1 pick. The Titans' first-year general manager, Mike Borgonzi, he said anytime you're trading up to that #1 pick, you're going to expect a big return. So that's our expectation. So, JJ, what's the latest you're hearing on all of it?
I am dubious, Jenny, that the Jets are actually going to be able to trade up to the #1 overall pick. We're all interested in a number of things in life that we won't get. So that may be the lot in life for the New York Jets, if they are indeed truly interested in going up to #1. And I'm sure that they are, for a price that they are unwilling to pay. Also, look, it takes two to tango here. The Tennessee Titans have a lot of holes to fill, and they want a blue chip generational-like talent. Well, going down from 1 to 7 is not going to get you one of those players. And so if the Jets are very serious about trading up, they're really probably going to have to go up to like pick 4 with the Patriots and then try to get up to 1, because I don't believe the Titans will want to go from 1 to 7. Meanwhile, the New York Giants, we know that they need a quarterback. They want a quarterback. They have to get a quarterback. And so could they potentially go from 3 to 1? Yes, that could happen. It certainly could happen. But right now, it's interesting. The Tennessee Titans have scheduled some visits, some at-home visits, if you will, bringing in the top draft talent in the next week or so before the start of free agency. So Abdul Carter and his foot, and Cam Ward, the consensus top quarterback in this year's draft, and Travis Hunter coming in as well. They're going to talk with all these guys. They're going to try to get as much information as possible before you get to the start of free agency. And why is that important? Well, it's important because they want to know if they need to go be aggressive for a veteran quarterback like a Sam Darnold, for example, or if they need to just hang tight, not going to trade the #1 pick unless something really materializes, and sit tight and believe that Cam Ward is going to be their guy. So that's where we stand right now. You know, the Browns sitting at 2, needing a quarterback, looking at veteran options out there. All of these things are going to start working themselves out over the next week or so before we get to the official start of free agency on March the 12th.
Okay, so when you look at a team like the Jets, I mean, there's going to be a lot of changing, a lot of movement. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is out. They're currently fielding trade calls also for Devonte Adams, but they plan on releasing him if they can't find a suitor. You look at that contract, $38.2 million salary cap number. This isn't a surprise, is it, JJ?
No. Again, let's go back to what we just talked about, where we can want a lot of things in life, and the Jets can want to trade Devonte Adams and wish that they could trade Devonte Adams. No one, I'm telling you, no one is trading for Devonte Adams in that contract. I mean, look, yes, he came alive a little bit in the second half of the season. Obviously, last year was a difficult one, making that switch and not really getting his sea legs there with the New York Jets for whatever reason or reasons. But when you consider the salary cap hit, look, when he signed his contract with the Raiders, and we know, of course, it conveyed to the Jets in that trade, there was no one, and I would include Devonte Adams in this group, there was no one who believed he was going to be playing in 2025 on that contract. It was always set up for something to happen ahead of the start of the new league year in March of 2025. Here we are in March of 2025. Aaron Rodgers is not with the Jets. Devonte Adams probably wants to go wherever Aaron Rodgers is going. And the Jets are not going to pay him nearly $40 million as the highest paid wide receiver in football by a large margin. Again, Justin Jefferson's at $35 million per year. Devonte Adams isn't getting $3 million more than that. And so, yes, the Jets would like for everyone to know, hey, if you want Devonte, you can come trade for him. The rest of the league is sitting there saying, yeah, sure, we're just going to wait till whenever you decide to release him. And by the time they can talk to him in that free agency window that will begin on March the 10th to speak with free agents and then officially can sign on March the 12th, that's what you're going to see. And it may, Jenny, it may take some time as well because Devonte Adams may want to see where Aaron Rodgers winds up, and that, as we have known, as the world has turned with Aaron Rodgers, can take a little bit.
Little package deal going from place to place. We'll see what happens there. We're going to move on to the Bengals now. So star receivers Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both looking for new contracts. For Chase, the team has made it clear they understand that he's probably going to become one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks in NFL history. Reports out there are saying that an offer has been made by Cincinnati, but the two sides are far apart. What are you hearing?
Yeah, so what we reported during the combine is the two sides are very far apart. Look, it's one thing to make Jamar Chase the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. In order to do that, you need to reach $35 million plus one, okay? Because that's what his buddy Justin Jefferson is at $35 million clean. And so the Bengals could go out there and say, there's the offer on the table, okay? We see right there in terms of average annual value. That offer is not only extended today, it has been extended since before the start of the regular season last year. So around Labor Day, he was already around $36 million AAV. But Jamar Chase, coming off an incredible year, well, you know, he's looking for a little bit more than that. And whatever that number may be, 40? Right? I mean, look, the Bengals would be willing to go up a little bit. It's not just 35.1. It could be 36. It could be 37.5. But 40, that's a big number to go out there and go 5-6 million above what the current market is. And so they're not close. And so while the Bengals at the Combine are talking about highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, that's a title, but that's not a number. And they do not agree on the number. Meanwhile, they're going to have some trouble with T. Higgins as well because they tagged T. Higgins. Well, other teams are interested in T. Higgins, and they're probably saying, hey, if you got to us, man, we pay you so much more than the Bengals. And so whatever that number may be that the Patriots perhaps would pay T. Higgins is not necessarily the number that the Cincinnati Bengals would pay T. Higgins. And not only that, but the Patriots or a team like them can say, gosh, we would pay you so much more if you come to us. But would that actually be the reality? And so that can be rattling around in T. Higgins' head. And then lastly, Trey Hendrickson, who is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. He wanted a new deal last year, didn't get one. Wants a new deal now and deserves one. But will the Bengals have enough money for everyone? What sort of domino needs to fall first before you can take care of the rest? And frankly and truly, it's Jamar Chase. So a little bit of a holdup that I don't know we are going to sort of get past this road hump in the next couple of days, for example.
A lot of players wanting to get paid over there. All right, so there's been so much chatter going on during the NFL Combine. Really, anyone who's anyone is there. You included, right? One of our favorite topics of conversations, the QB market. We love talking about what's happening with the quarterbacks, and there really have been two names on the top of the draft board, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. JJ, it seems that Ward distanced himself from Sanders as a top quarterback. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I totally agree. That's what everyone that I spoke to said. Most folks that I had spoken to had Cam Ward as the top quarterback in this year's draft heading into it. You can argue, Pete Prisco would certainly argue, for example, that Cam Ward wouldn't be a top 3 or 4 or 5 quarterback in last year's draft. Well, this is not last year. You know, the thing about the old days is that they're the old days, and that's where we are at right now. You've seen some reporting that maybe Jackson Dart can move up a little bit. Perhaps, you know, we'll see as these 30 visits continue going on. Here's what I can tell you is that I heard from a number of teams who were very, very impressed with Cam Ward in his interview process. I am not concerned. No one in the NFL is concerned that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders did not throw at the Combine. Honestly, if you had asked me 2 weeks before the Combine if either one of them would throw there, I would have said absolutely not. So it was no surprise to the 32 teams that they did not throw. They will throw, of course, at their respective pro days, or at least that is the plan right now. But when it comes to the time that teams spent with both of these individuals, what became clear to me via the consensus, and I want to be clear, I was not in the room for either one of these interviews. Had I been, that would have been an issue. But what I was told was that Cam Ward interviewed extremely well, and he interviewed better than Shedeur Sanders. Now, one caveat that more than one team made to me was maybe Shedeur didn't interview all that well. Maybe he was a little, hey, whatever, didn't answer the questions the way that teams would have wanted him to because he didn't want to go to that team that was interviewing him. So he kind of sandbagged a little bit, if you will. Again, not in the interview room, but that was overwhelmingly what I heard the week of the Combine in Indianapolis. We'll see. We do understand Shedeur Sanders doesn't want to go where he doesn't want to go, does want to go where he does want to go. So maybe that was a tactic. But coming out of the Combine, you've seen the reports. The reports are absolutely true based off of folks that I have talked to, that a gap widened between Cam Ward and the field. And if your second quarterback is Shedeur Sanders, well, the gap widened there.
Interesting tactic. I mean, I guess that there's a reason why Shedeur Sanders would go and interview that way, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I feel like you want to impress everybody. That's just my take. I don't know. JJ, thank you for bringing us the latest in the NFL, looking at these upcoming NFL dates. Free agency running through March 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern. That franchise transition tag deadline. The negotiating period is going to happen between March 10th and the 12th, and free agency begins at 4 p.m. on March 12th there, and the NFL draft all kicking off on April 24th.